freedom. And we're alluding to...
Yeah, and you have to take a look at who's endorsing it and / supporting it, because that was just a quote of like Freedom House going like, oh, look at like I support what they're doing, right? So it's like, well, that's what you got to look for as well. Because if that's Freedom House and that's US based, it's like, well, what's Freedom House? And that's a good question. You should probably look into that.
No, yeah. So the whole point is
whole point is what's in our own backyard. We're not looking at ourselves.
Well, and some people that do look at ourselves, they look at... Some people are... You get... It's a brain thing, and you and I understand this, but you'll get the person that can look at global patterns, look at the foreign interference from NEDs, USAIDs, but then they can't, bring it back home, pull out the plank in their own eye, look at what's in their own. Or you get the opposite, and we've seen this too, where people can look at the US, but they can't see it in other countries. So it's like, okay, if you know that we can get riots and people like your BLM movements and such like that here, and you know that you get oligarchs that try and put their hand in our own local politics and subvert our own elections. If you understand that, then why is it so hard to believe that if we have a deep state and we have a civil war going on, not just a manufactured civil war, but an actual deep state, it's like the CIA versus the government. Or even here in Alberta, there's our political party versus the government. There's internal battles going on little levels all the time. Why can't it be happening elsewhere? And another good example of that is Shanghai. So, and China. So in this article where they're accusing the CCP being the cause of the LA riots, they blame an individual named Neville Roy Singham. And looking into him, he is American, but he lives in Shanghai. And so they say it's the CCP. And although there's affiliations with him, this Neville Singham individual, he has a bunch of NGOs. Well, we went through last episode that nowadays NGOs is pretty much how it's led, these non-governmental organizations, because the hand got exposed that the government was doing these things via NED, USAID. So they started lessening the prominence, and it's the same with Operation Mockingbird. They claim that the CIA and the government no longer invades and operates within the media, but they don't need that anymore because now they just have a bunch of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, that do it on behalf of them.
It's just rebranding, yeah.
It's just rebranding, so it's the same thing with these organizations. This individual who's now in Shanghai, he has NGOs to influence whatever agenda he has to put. And when you look at China's history, we've talked about the fact that Hong Kong got taken over via the Opium Wars and stuff like that, and really is still operated. But the finances of China, there's 3 main banks, I believe the main China Land Bank, and then the other 2 that operate in China's finances are the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank and then the Standard Chartered Bank. Well, it's not called Hong Kong Shanghai Bank for poops and giggles. Hong Kong's not the only, just like you have here in Canada, we know that Montreal, Ontario, those are our large deep states. When you look at Canada's history, most of our deep state and our intelligence agencies erected from Montreal and Ontario. Well, in China, it's Hong Kong and Shanghai, from the days of the Shanghai clique and such like that. So even though they'll paint it as a broad stroke brush China thing, China is also fighting an internal battle. That's why Xi Jinping